Hi, my name is Aidan Lilienthal. Throughout this video, I'll walk you through the step-by-step process of design, fabrication, and assembly for a switchboard panel for a small truck. Throughout this video, you'll see 3 different manufacturing processes, each with their own material, including steel sheet metal, aluminum, and carbon fiber. Also with the secondary and finishing techniques as well. Let's get started.
The first thing was immediately starting in CAD. I went and found switches and buttons online, as well as a knob and potentiometer from McMaster, pulled them into CAD and modeled everything around it. After modeling, I then found some sheet metal from the SAE shop, immediately loading it into the water jet for its first part of the manufacturing process. This was then programmed into the machine after loading the metal and the machine full of its required materials, as well as clamping the part down into the machine. The part hadn't been cut all the way due to the water jet malfunctioning and was then sent over to the bandsaw for post-processing. After cutting on the bandsaw, some additional post-processing was needed to smooth up the edges. I used the belt sander to just briefly touch the edges and give the corners a nice round edge. At this point, I then used a Sharpie and calipers to mark a line at the desired length based off of CAD. Then using the sheet metal brake, it was easy to get a perfect 90 degrees before putting directly into the sandblaster. Sandblasting wasn't exactly needed, but gave the surface finish a nice clean look, as well as getting rid of any imperfections within holes and any water jet edges. The next part to make is the knob for the potentiometer. Doing this, I just turned down 60-61 aluminum to its desired depth and added a chamfer onto the edge. After this, I quickly knurled it and parted it before flipping it around in the 3-jaw, drilling a hole in the backside, and then moving to the lathe. Before shifting to the mill, I then pulled the drawer out and moved all my metal shavings away to the bin. On the mill, I used 2 V-blocks to center my part and just measured and drilled a hole. This allows for a threaded point in which I could use a set screw to keep the knob onto the dial. My third part is carbon fiber. This will be a wrap around the overall steel base and then cured in the oven overnight. To do this, I just laid my part down over the carbon fiber, cut out a square, as well as cutting out a square of the film adhesive. Throughout this process, I had a little bit of help with some GFR teammates of mine, as they were able to explain to me how I'm supposed to set it up in the bag, as well as using breather and other materials for proper curing time. At this point, I was then left alone to try and seal the bag. As you can see, I did have some troubles before finally making a perfect seal. Finalizing this process, I needed a little bit more assistance to use the oven, as I'm not exactly qualified to use this. After everything was complete, I then bumped over to the assembly room to finalize the assembly of my product. I had 3 buttons, a dial, and a knob that I made, as well as the base with the carbon attached. To do this, it was simple, just putting the buttons in, putting the washer and a nut over it, constraining them to the board, as well as putting the knob over the dial and then using the set screw machine into it.
Overall, this was a very fun concept, being something I wanted to make for quite some time now. Not only is it extremely simple and easy to make with the right tooling, but it's very useful for any and all auxiliary devices like rock lights, light bars, or more. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.